Okay, we're back. And this time we are going to talk about surplus. There's two different kinds of surplus we're going to talk about. There is consumer surplus, and there is producer surplus. And is that two S's or one? One S. Okay. And what consumer surplus means is too many consumers. And producer surplus means too many producers, too many products. So consumer surplus is a situation where you have a lot of people buying stuff, but not as much material. So this is high demand. And too many products, too many producers means this is high supply. So lots of customers. This is where we're in with the COVID virus and all of the medical supplies. We got a lot of customers and a fixed amount of stuff, and so the price goes up because of that. It would be ideal if we had too much stuff, we had a surplus of materials, and so we'd have a high supply amount, and that would drive the price down, and so the people can buy what they need. Not really what we got going on there. Okay, so let me get rid of these, and we'll talk about the graph. Oops. There we go. Okay, so over here, the graph, this is our demand curve. And we use f of x to represent that. Demand is essentially the price, right? Something in high demand, you're going to pay a lot of money for it. The blue one here is the supply curve. And this is g of x. Okay. And so for the first case, we're going to do consumer surplus with only one S this time. Consumer surplus is when, oh, and this point right here, this is called the equilibrium price. That's what should be the price of the product based on the supply and the demand curves. And so this has coordinates. So this axis is X, the number of things being sold, and this axis is price. So this has a coordinate of X1 and P1 for the price and the number of units being sold at that price. So it has an ordered pair, X1, comma, P1. Okay? Now, if I go and I look at, let's do this in green, I guess. This area would be our total revenue, because it's going to be the number of, if you look at the area under here, this width is the number of things times the price of each of those things. So the green area there, let me do it in green, is going to be total revenue. And that's how we would read that off this chart. But how can I change to another color? I guess we'll do gray, see if gray works. this area here, this is the area where you have a lot of customers. We have a surplus of customers, and so they're willing to buy stuff, but they're willing to buy it up here at a higher price point than what most of the people did that purchased it on the normal supply and demand curve. So the consumer surplus, boy, that's really hard to read. Let's see, how do I get another color? Let's do a purple. Okay. Go away. We'll make this purple. And this is consumer surplus. So the consumer surplus is this shaded area. It's the area underneath the demand curve, but above this rectangle. And this is what's considered the consumer surplus. And so the area here is the total amount of money your business can make for selling the product at a price higher than the equilibrium price. And this shows how much we would be able to sell. Okay? So if I try to calculate this, consumer surplus would be the area under this curve from 0 to x1, right? The area underneath here minus, so that would be f of x, minus this green rectangle, which would be the revenue function, which is the area of that rectangle is P1 times X1. Oops. So this, new color, is our formula for calculating the amount of money generated in a consumer surplus market. We do from 0 to the equilibrium price, and it's usually, you got to find that number typically, or 0 to X1, the equilibrium sales, X1, the number of units sold at the equilibrium price. And we integrate f of x, where f of x is the demand function, minus the equilibrium price times the equilibrium units sold. And this whole thing will give us the area underneath the curve here. So it's the big one minus the little one gives us what's left over. So let me do this. So it's the, how do I get my purple back? Huh, you'd think I'd read the directions. Ah. So it's the area under this curve. This curve right here is f of x from 0 to x1. So that's this. The area underneath the curve minus the stuff in this rectangle. So the big one minus the little one will give us what's left over, which is this little triangle thing here. And that's what the consumer surplus number is the area in that little pie wedge there. Okay? So this is the thing we're going to use to do all of our calculations. So we want to keep that in mind. Okay? So, and this curve is really important. We're going to use this to define the producer surplus as well. And so we'll have to keep that in mind too, but we'll come back to it. Okay, so now let me go back to black. We'll do a problem. This is example 4 in your book. and we'll write this over here. Whoops. Equals 0 to x1. Okay, here's our formula. So let's say we're given that the demand function is 1020 over x plus 1. This is our demand function. And so the demand function, remember, is the price based on the number of things you're selling. And we're also told that the equilibrium price is equal to $20. So this, knowing this, lets us solve for the number of units we can sell at that price based on this function and the supply-demand curves. So what I'm going to do, and this is what we'll always do, is we'll take this price and we'll stick it in for f of x. So $20 equals 1020 over the number of units we can sell at that point. This is the equilibrium price, so this is the equilibrium units, because those are always linked together. So I'll multiply both sides by x plus 1 equals 1020. I'll distribute. And then I will subtract 20. And then I'll divide by 20. And what is that, 50? Yeah. So the number of units we can sell at the equilibrium price, where the supply and demand curves match, is 50. Okay, so that was the first step, is find the number of units we can sell at the equilibrium price. Now we're going to use the formula. So the consumer surplus, meaning how much money are we going to make when the consumers are more than the product. So the demand is higher than the supply. I'm going to integrate from 0 to 50 because x1 up here is the number of units I sold at equilibrium. F of x is this dude here. Dx minus the product of the demand price times the demand units. So that would be 20 times 50. So, okay. So this looks like, this integral looks like a 1 over u du kind of thing. And what's the integral of 1 over u du? Right, natural log of u plus c, but we won't have a plus c because we have limits. So this is a definite integral, not an indefinite integral. Very important difference. So here I'm going to let u equal x plus 1. So du would be dx. Oh, we don't have to do anything. We got a dx here. Beauty. Okay, so then this integral is going to be 1020. 1 over u, the integral is ln u times ln of u, and u is always going to be positive. Let's see, evaluated from 0 to 50, minus 1,000. So 1020 times ln of 50 minus ln of 0 minus 1,000. Oops, I did that wrong, didn't I? I did that on purpose to see if you would catch me. This is not 50. 51 because u is x plus 1. And when I put 50 in for x, I'll get 51. And it is not 0. I can't believe you guys let me get away with that. See, I was testing you. 51 minus ln of, if I put in 0 for x, I'll get a 1. And now you got to go to your trusty calculator to crunch these numbers. And you're going to get the amount of revenue we'll generate is 3,010 and 46 big ones. This is the amount of income we'll get in that, if I can draw it, in this area up here. The area up there represents the amount of income we get in the consumer surplus market environment, which we found to be that. So sometimes they give you the price in the homework and you solve for x1. Sometimes they'll give you x1 and you'll solve for the price. So you'll plug x1 into here and you'll solve for the equilibrium price, and then you're able to use them in here. Okay? But these consumer surplus problems tend to be all the same. And so enjoy. We'll go to the next one here. So I will be back in a minute.